Good morning, students. In continuation to the chapter Literatrums, now we come to the very important literatum, that is alliteration. Alliteration in words that begin with the same sound are placed close together. Although alliteration often involves repetition of letters, most importantly, it is repetition of sounds. Alliteration is Anupras Alankar in Hindi. In English, it is alliteration. For example, it is repetition of letters, most importantly, repetition of sounds. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The repetition of P, pickled, many times, repeated. So this is alliteration. Ambiguity is also alliteration when we are involved in interpretation, figuring out what different elements in a story mean. We are responding to a work's ambiguity. The means that the work is to open to several simultaneous interpretations. Language, especially when manipulated artistically, can communicate more than one meaning, encouraging our interpretations. We have climax. Climax is the turning point, charam, utkarsh. The third part of plot, the point at which the action stops rising and begins falling or reversing, also called turning point. Conflict is a later term, a struggle between opposing forces that sets the action in motion. An external conflict or internal conflict, both types are conflicts. External conflict pits a character against something or something outside, himself or himself. Another character or characters or something in nature or society. An internal conflict happens within when the opposing forces are two drives, impulses, parts of a single character. When we feel a war, a struggle running in our mind, in our soul, it's an internal conflict. And external conflict is that hits our body from outside in the form of weapon, in the form of weather, in the form of any injury. Fiction, any narrative, especially in prose, about invented or imaginated characters and action. Today, fiction falls into three major sub-genres based on length. The short story. Originally, all forms of short fiction include the fable, legend, parable, and tale. Fictional works may also be categorized not by their length but by their handling of particular five elements such as plot or character. Detective and science fiction, for example, are subgenres. Other fictions include gothic romance, historical, and notification. Figurative language, language that uses figures of speech or literary devices to express ideas. So there are different types of literary terms we have used. Genre. Genre is type of a vidha, category of literature, a type of category of works sharing particular formal or textual fixtures and conventions, especially used to refer to the last categories for classifying literature: fiction, poetry, sixth drama, and non-fiction. A smaller division with this genre is usually known as a subgenre, such as gothic fiction or epic poetry, irony, a situation or a statement characterized by significant difference between what is expected and what actually happens, or between what is understood and what is meant. Verbal irony occurs when a word or expression in context means something different from and usually the opposite of what it appears to mean. When the intended meaning is harsh, critical, or satiric, verbal irony becomes a sarcasm. Situational irony occurs when the character's actions have an opposite effect from what was intended or lead to a reversal of expectation or unexpected. Dramatic irony occurs when there is a gap between what an audience knows and what a character believes or expects. When this occurs in a tragedy, dramatic irony is sometimes called tragic irony. Cosmic irony and irony of fate are sometimes used to refer to the situations in which situational irony is the result of fate, chance, the gods of some other superhuman force of entity. So, we have discussed irony, its different types of forms, dramatic irony, situational irony, character, situation, so and so. And now we come another literary terms, metaphor. Metaphor is general term for about almost any figures of speech involving comparison, more commonly a particular figure of speech in which two unlike things are compared implicitly. That it is different from simile. In simile, we have the use of like and as. But in metaphor, although there are comparisons, but there is no use of the word either like or as. That is, without the use of a signal such as the word like or as in love is a rose, but you better not pick it. Simile is a figure of speech involving a direct, explicit comparison of one thing to another, usually using the words like as or to draw the connection. As in, my love is like a red rose. Symbol. Symbol is a literary term. Place, a person, thing, or event that figuratively represents or stands for something else. Often the thing or idea represented is more abstract and general, and the symbol is more concrete and particular. A traditional symbol recurs frequently in and beyond literature, making it immediately. So we have discussed simile and metaphor separately and combinedly, having comparison between them. And lastly, we come to the style. Style is also a literary term, a distinctive manner of expression. An author's style results from a combination of aspects such as diction, rhythm, imagery, and so on. Symbol. Symbol is a device or figurative term that a person, place, thing, or event that figuratively represents or stands for something else. Monologue. Monologue is a conversation in within a man speaks to himself. A speech more than a few sentences, usually in a play but also in other genres, spoken by one person and uninterrupted by the speech of anyone else. An entire work consists of this sort of speech. In fiction, an interior monologue takes place entirely within the mind of character rather than being spoken. So the students, you have been given the very important information regarding the use of literary terms. In the sequence of earlier literary terms, in this topic I have given alliteration, simile, metaphor, style, symbol. So from the point of your knowledge, for the purpose of examination, for the purpose of understanding the literature, how to enjoy the text of literature, how to enjoy the atmosphere of literature, how to enjoy the society of literature, we have to study, we have to go through literary terms, because without them we are not able to study, to enjoy the literature, and it becomes very monotonous, tiring, boredom when we study poetry or prose without the use of literary terms. So, literary terms are just like ornaments, they are decorations. They give us additional flavor, additional color, so that we can enjoy the nature of literature, the literature of nature, both in a very remarkable manner. Thanks, students. very much. Thank you.